Hello BookTube, welcome back to my 2025 library tour. In this episode, Agatha Christie, but first, June on the Range. June on the Range is a yearly BookTube event created by Michael K. Vaughan in which participants read westerns in the month of June. Last year, the themes were Zane Grey and Louis L'Amour. And I, for some reason, decided to pick up a novel by each. Riders of the Purple Sage by Zane Grey, which is set in Utah, and Flint by Louis L'Amour, which is set in New Mexico, that area. They both stink, so neither one is going to stay in my collection. And this part of the tour is very much going to be an unhaul video. So let's get on to Agatha Christie. So I was a big fan of mysteries when I was a preteen and early teenager. And Agatha Christie was my favorite. I had more of her work than any other mystery writer combined. Given her output, that's not difficult to do. I subsequently lost interest in mysteries and got rid of all of the books I had at the time. But about 10 years ago, I came back to Agatha Christie. And I picked up a number of her work, mostly in omnibus edition. But over the last 2 years, I have since fallen out with her again, and so she will be exiting my library once again. But first, I do have a few of her books to talk to you about. I have two in individual mass market paperbacks. First up is Hickory Dickory Dock, which is an Hercule Poirot mystery. It is set at a youth hostel, and Poirot is asked by his secretary to come and investigate many of the odd, petty thefts that are taking place that leads to a much larger conspiracy. I also have Sleeping Murder, which is a Miss Marple mystery, the last one. It was written during World War II and placed in a safety deposit box alongside the final Poirot novel, Curtain, to be published in the event of Christie's death during the war. She survived and went on to write for another 30 years. But when she died, both Curtain and Sleeping Murder were published. This mystery sees Miss Marple helping her nephew Raymond's friends with the sense that the wife and the couple has a sense of deja vu about the house that they bought. So the last of the omnibus editions that I picked up is Murderers Abroad, which includes They Came to Baghdad, Murder in Mesopotamia, The Mystery of the Blue Train, Passenger to Frankfurt, and So Many Steps to Death. I don't know about the others, but I have read Passenger to Frankfurt, and it stinks. Now, these came out in, I think, the 70s and 80s, and so the titles might be a bit weird. Some of the titles are common through the British edition and the American edition. Sometimes the American edition changes the names, and then sometimes they revert back. It's a complicated pain in the rear end. This next one is starring Miss Marple, which features 3 novels: A Murder is Announced, The Body in the Library, and Murder with Mirrors, all of which I have read. Next is Miss Marple Meets Murder, The Mirror Cracked, A Pocket Full of Rye, At Bertram's Hotel, and The Moving Finger, again, all of which I have read. This next one is one of the first ones I picked up. This is 10 Little Indians, which is one of those that have changed its name rather frequently. It's most famously known as And Then There Were None, which I have read. Also Parrot End House, which is terrible. The Murder at Hazelmoor, Easy to Kill, I haven't read either of those, and Evil Under the Sun, which I have read. Agatha Christie's Detectives, Murder at the Vicarage, I have read. Dead Man's Folly, I have read. Set Cyprus, Towards Zero, NRM, I have not. 5 complete Hercule Poirot novels. Murder on the Orient Express, I have read. 13 at Dinner, DBC Murders, Cards on the Table, I have not read. And Death on the Nile, I have read. Back to Miss Marple with The Mirror Cracked, A Caribbean Mystery, Nemesis, What Mrs. McGillicuddy Saw, and The Body in the Library. I've, of course, read all of these. I've read all of the Miss Marple novels. And finally, 5 classic murder mysteries: The Murder of Roger Ackroyd, The Secret Adversary, The Boomerang Clue, The Moving Finger, and Death Comes as the End. I have read The Murder of Roger Ackroyd, The Moving Finger, and Death Comes at the End, which is terrible. So, at least for the foreseeable future, this will be the last time these omnibus editions by Agatha Christie make an appearance in my library tour. I will be back tomorrow with another episode in the 2025 library tour. So until then, BookTube, thank you, have a great afternoon, and stay safe.